So we are live this morning with none other than local famous entrepreneur.
Superhero,
right?
That's my next year. I'm gonna be a superhero.
She is all of that and above. She is a friend of mine, friend of Capstone Realty. Good morning, Angela. And so, real quick, we'll go ahead and kick this off. 23 minutes of motivation on Monday morning. So we promised to get you guys out of here by 7:30. And Ashley is not a morning person.
So he really means he promises to get me out of here by 7:30 so I can caffeinate and maybe go back to bed.
Absolutely. So real quick, Ashley, tell the world a little bit about yourself. You know, what little bit, you know, where are you from? What's your background?
Sure. So I always claim dual citizenship between Franklin County and the Shoals.
Right.
I grew up in the Russellville school system till about 7th grade, and then ended up transferring over here and graduating from Mars Hill. Went to Alabama, and I've sort of lived all over and done a little bit of everything. I was in healthcare for a very long time, and then I don't know, I sat up one day and I had an idea for this product, and I looked at my husband at the time and I was like, I can't go the rest of my career and not know what this could have been. Right? And so I ended up creating a product called Alchemy, and it's done really well. It's in hundreds and hundreds of stores across the country, going international next year. It's been on Home Shopping Network 4 times. I mean, it's just sort of like this incredible product that could. And
you're actually a video star, film star from that product.
I'm surprised it's not from like falling in like a gym. Like I'm not like a YouTube famous from something like that. So when I was at market selling Alchemy, I would have buyers come up to me and say, "You sure are cute for a big girl. Where do you buy your clothes?" And so I made a clothing line, and it started out as plus size, and then it went to every size, because what happened is, who makes clothing that's modest, comfortable, affordable for middle-aged women?
Right.
Nobody does. And so I did, and that's been a lot of fun.
So you still have the Alchemy product?
So I have Alchemy, and then actually now I'm trying to phase the clothing line out because I really value my sleep time, and like somewhere I have to sleep, because now I have my partner in a consulting firm called Click Synergy, and we just do coaching and consulting, and it's so much fun. Like we just started our second boot camp where we have 10 local businesses that we just dive in and get nosy. And
so that's
it's
awesome. three different products at the same time.
Yes. Which I do not always recommend until you're so rich that you can hire people to do the work for you. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. Is it
satisfying though?
It is. But what's the heart of an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is somebody who would rather work 18 hours a day for themselves and 8 hours for someone else. You've all probably heard that, but it's 5,000% true.
Right.
Like if that's in you, it's hard to work for somebody else.
Does it always pay like 18 hours though?
If only it paid the way healthcare used to pay,
exactly.
I probably wouldn't complain near as much.
I get it.
But it's extremely satisfying. I mean, to own your own company and to, you know, for me to put products out that are, you know, Alchemy is not a life-changing product.
Right.
But so my product, you spray it on your jewelry, it keeps it from tarnishing, from turning your skin green or making you itch.
Okay.
The number one reason people buy it is because they can't wear earrings.
Right.
And so even though it's not a life-changing product, if you're a woman and you haven't been able to wear earrings in 10 years, and now you can, and you can wear whatever you want, that's a life-enhancing product. And so to be able to provide a solution to men and women who have never had a solution is really satisfying. It's a very gratifying experience.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, of course, it sounds like, you know, the path is you're driving your own path, which is great. You're local, which is even more awesome. I'm going to ask you a tough question. I have asked folks in the past this tough question, and we've all you know, come across this tough question in the past. Did you just wake up one day and you just said, hey, this is gonna be a great product, I'm just gonna walk out here and everybody loves me, so they're gonna love the product? Were there any trials and tribulations along the way, or were you just born lucky?
So it always starts that way. Like if you don't have hope as an entrepreneur, there's not a next step to take. And so that's one of the great parts about being an entrepreneur, is that you feel this sort of hope and this, like what tomorrow can look like without remembering how hard it is to do the work today. We always are sort of thinking about the next step and the next success. I actually was making jewelry and selling it at First Friday in downtown Florence, and a local shop, Sidelines, a jewelry place in English Village, called me and said, we'd love to pick up your line. And I was like, you want to pick up my line? It'll turn your skin green. Like, I don't even know what I'm using to make this stuff. And this is, a very reputable, it's like my favorite shop in the world. And I went in there to meet with them, and I said, is there anything besides clear nail polish that would treat the jewelry? And she goes, no, but if you invent it, you'll make $1 million. And I was like, $1 million? But it sounded like $20 million to me now. It sounded like an unending supply of money.
The need was there.
Yeah. And so, you plot and you scheme and you plan, and, you finally decide that you're going to do this. And so I did it, and I was married, and my husband, we did a run with China, which was a disaster. It got here and there was stuff floating in it. So it had to literally be destroyed by a medical waste company, because no one wants to buy something for skin sensitivity that looks like there's a sea monkey growing in it.
Right,
that's a hard pass.
Yeah.
So, it was a huge loss and a big setback for us. And then my husband at the time found an American manufacturer, and that's when things started to change. And then one day I woke up and I couldn't find my husband anywhere. And I searched all over the house, and I looked outside, and I thought, well, he has to be downstairs in the basement working on his motorcycle. And when I opened the door to go to the basement, he was at the bottom of the stairs. He had fallen in the middle of the night and hit his head, and it killed him.
I remember that.
And so, there's a moment where you decide, like, is that still the path
Right.
you want to go down? And it's like
how
ultimate.
How old are you?
I'm 36. I was 32 when it happened.
32. That's at any age, that's devastating. It is a major blow.
Well, it's a shock. It's not like he was sick. It's not like we were planning for it and thinking about it. It's like you just wake up one morning and your world is completely different.
Yeah.
And, for me, he wasn't just my husband and best friend. He was also my business partner.
Right.
The logistics of the company and the way things were going to work. And I felt very overwhelmed. And I felt like, can I even still do this without him? I mean, there was a lot of questions for me. And so anybody who knew my husband, he was definitely a tough love kind of guy. And there was definitely a moment where it was like, if you sit back and let this go, he will literally figure out how to become a ghost and ruin your life. And so I felt like my life was ruined. I was like, I don't need any more of that bad juju. And so I just did it. I just figured it out. And I can remember the first market I went to, I remember feeling so relieved that he wasn't there, because so many people told me no.
Right.
That I thought if he was here, he would be body slamming people. Like, you are so dumb. This product could change your store. And then I remember, because I felt relieved, I felt so sad. I cried through my whole entire market. I had the flu. I lost my voice. People would ask me questions, and I would scribble the answer down and give it to them on Post-it notes. It was a complete disaster. But I sold a lot, and I also met my biggest customer there, who called me 4 weeks later. It's the Grommet, which, if none of you guys have ever been on the Grommet.com, about to change your life. It is awesome. This is a really cool website that they just find the coolest gifts and gadgets, and the Grommet changed my life. The Grommet picking me up really validated my product, gave it a lot of credibility, and then it was just sort of off to the races from there. And of course, there have been lots of trials and tribulations since then, and
that's a figuring
out placement and branding, and I wanted this very sleek branding that made sense. And my mom was going to shows with me, and she was like, "Girl, I think you're up here, and everybody else is tired. They're down here.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple." And then the simpler I made it, the bigger the sales got. And man, I hated to be wrong, but I was, and I was lucky to have a support system that said, "Hey, girl, hey, girl, hey, girl, get it together." So that helped a lot. But it has not been without hardship. It's not been without emotional setbacks and financial setbacks. But I got lucky. I'd had Alchemy out about 2 years, and a friend of mine here in town, we were in a group called Co-Starters, and she comes busting in our meeting one day, and she was like, "There is a contest for HSN and Good Housekeeping that you need to go to." And so I submitted, I got selected. I went to St. Petersburg, Florida. I competed. They loved me. I made the top 10 conditionally.
Right.
Because anything that goes on HSN or QVC goes through the most rigorous testing
Oh,
that you could imagine.
imagine.
It's insane. So nobody knew how to do this.
They're about to put their stamp of approval on it.
Well, that's
so.
right. And then you have Good Housekeeping involved with this one. So it's like, who pays for the testing? Me? Good Housekeeping? HSN? Normally, I would pay for it, but that was not the point of the contest. And we also only had it like a 6-week turnaround. There was just no way to set up a clinical study that fast. So then that was just sort of it. And then 6 months later, I get an email from a buyer from a different department at Home Shopping Network who just randomly went into a boutique and saw my product and loved it. It kept her ears from itching, her skin from turning green, and she messaged me and said, would you be interested in becoming part of the HSN family? And I was like, yes.
Yeah, let me get back to you on that. I'm really busy right now looking at a lot of other projects.
And she had no idea that I had competed and ultimately was rejected. So those two departments teamed up to be sure that when I came on board that I got airtime, which is crucial when you go into a business, something like that. So it was really exciting, and I know it can feel like there's no such thing as a true overnight success. Every overnight success has had 5 years of being quiet, and all of a sudden it's like, where did this fabulous products come from?
All of a sudden.
Well, from 5 years of sleepless nights. I mean, that's what it is.
True. And I guess a lot of times, I know for myself and others that I've spoken with in the past, it's like a lot of times we're up against that wall and we feel like we've had a journey of 1,000 miles and we're right at the edge. We don't realize how close we are.
Yes.
And it's like we're just rejection. Nobody likes rejection. And that's just something in any profession, especially sales and any type of entrepreneurship. You had better look and seek failure and seek rejection because it's part of your development.
Well, success and failure are two sides of the same coin. I mean, there is no success story that doesn't involve multiple failures. And failure comes in a lot of different ways. I had a buyer tell me, I would not put your product on my dog, much less a human. I had a family friend who, as I was sort of getting ready to look at this as a possibility, he said to me, Ashley, it's such a shame, as smart as you are and as charismatic as you are, that people will never hear your words. You'll never be on television. And I said, what does that mean? What do you mean I'll never be on television? He goes, well, the way you look, no one's ever going to put you on television. And when you hear things like that and those kinds of rejections, they sort of get sewn and written into your skin, and you sort of live with that, and you have to figure out how to push past that and to push past people who say they love you, but they don't really support you, whether that's because they're jealous or because of whatever their issue is. And I got to tell you, when I was sitting in that chair at Home Shopping Network, getting my hair and makeup done and fussed over, I thought, hey, let me know, Dad. I'm going on TV now, sir. Jerk.
It's all about the passion, though. I mean, it's I've known you for years, and I met you through Bart and Drew, and those guys are always into something. But your passion.
It's a family thing, apparently.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's easy to. If you're very close to those guys or know those guys, you see from outside looking in, they're always into something. But your personality lights up a room.
Well, that's
it just
nice
lights
of you to
up
say.
the room.
Well, one of the things that we were talking about before we went on camera is there's really never been a better time to be in sales or to be in business, because the way we connect with people is so different. And the connection right now is what's winning business.
It is.
And so it's having a story that people connect to, having a personality that people connect to, even though we have all the stories, and we have all the ways to be connected, we still don't break bread with each other. I ask women all the time, when's the last time you went just randomly to the mall with your girlfriends? I mean, we don't connect the way we did when we were younger, and of course it'll change every 5 to 10 years how we continue to connect. But the reports of adult loneliness in the United States are at the highest reported levels they ever have been. And so what that means is that people are really looking for a community or a tribe or a brand that they connect to that can speak to them. And that's why you see now what's the rise of social influencers. Big brands are spending a lot of money on YouTube artists and people who have these sort of fascinating Instagrams and Facebook stories, because these people who follow them feel like this girl is my best friend. There's a woman named Melissa Radke. She's just this normal woman who lives in Texas, and she started coming up with these hilarious videos about like the stress of being a mom. And then now she has turned this into a full-blown, like, I wouldn't say health and wellness, but just people look at her and they're like, she is like my sister, my best friend, my mother. She has now written a book that's doing very well. USA Network has offered them their own reality show, and it's all because women connected with her.
Yeah.
It changed her life. It was her personality and her story, and her ability to connect with people has completely changed their family's life. And so there's never been a better time to be a good guy.
That's true.
When have we ever heard that? Never.
Never.
The whole, the
Never.
nice guy finishes last, the nice girl finishes last, that's not really the case anymore.
Yeah, I think it all has to do with keeping it simple.
Sure.
Keeping it simple. Going back to our local face, hyper local. We hear that statement a lot in marketing, advertising, what have you, and people are so done. It's like they're done with big box everything. It's like now it's just I want something unique. I want small batch. I want it personal. I want it personalized.
Well, like one of the things we do for our clients is we either teach them or we do it for them how to put an ad over like the school drop-off line.
Right.
If that's your target market, moms and dads sitting in the target line, we can literally put an ad for that 45 minutes right there so you can speak directly to that customer. Advertising has completely changed.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's getting harder for brands and businesses to invest in anything that doesn't have a trackable analytical system.
Right.
So it's like, why would you invest in radio or newspaper? Those industries have got to figure out a way to track that return. And I think that those guys, if they did more to help, like follow up with their clients of, have you seen a boost here, so they could sort of, even if it was anecdotal analytics, I think they could really improve their sales, because Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, that you get these crazy analytics, and people are
and it's inexpensive.
Very inexpensive.
You can do A/B testing for as little as $20, $30, $40. Just to compare one ad or one demographic to another. So, and that's something you can't do in a lot of other media forms. And I know I don't knock print media, what have you, but I mean, I've never done it in the last 5 years in our real estate brokerage. Personally, we've got some agents that do, and that's great. But that was the reason that I got away from it. I couldn't track it. Yeah. How would clients go? Hey, will you run it in here in this paper, that paper? Sure, absolutely. What's your budget? Right. Yeah. I'll transfer that to them because we've already tested and we can't track it. We don't have quantifiable results.
I always wondered why I didn't go into real estate, because it's like the greatest way to be nosy without being nosy. Like, if you invite me to your house for like a Mary Kay party, I'm coming so I can see what your bathroom looks like. Like, I want to know what the inside of people's houses look like, but not like in a stalkerish way, but just like in it's like why HGTV is popular, because people love to see how stuff is decorated, and I love to see if it fits with my friends' personalities. Like, I'm always surprised if there's like a mom who's sort of scatterbrained and you go and her house is like very modern and sleek. I'm like, what is happening right now? So I really should have maybe thought about real estate, because then I could have looked in everybody's medicine cabinets.
Be careful what you wish for.
Don't lie, you guys are killing it.
Once you get in the business, it's kind of like the mafia. You can't get out.
I love it.
It is. It gets in your blood. We love it. We eat it, sleep it, breathe it. We have a lot of great agents, and but because you always hear this from the grinders of the world. It's like I started, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, gets up at 4 a.m., 4:30 every day in the morning. And of course, I don't think Ashley gets up at 4:30.
Every time I go to bed every morning.
So tell the folks out there that success isn't always created by 4:30 a.m. No. What's your normal grind look like?
Well, I think for me, what has been a big difference for me is sort of like a self-checkup. I read a lot of news. I read a lot of blogs and sort of like first-person written narratives. And I think for me, what has sort of changed the way that I look at things has been reevaluating what like my worth is. Okay. And I'm not talking about like your net worth. I'm talking about, like I sat through a training. I sat through a training the other day of a woman talking about how to become a $10,000 speaker. So she gets paid $10,000 for every speech that she does. And she said, I get paid $10,000 whether I speak for 15 minutes, whether I speak for an hour. Because you're not buying my time, you're buying the value of my content. And I was like, dang, girl, that was like sort of a breakthrough moment for me. So I know as a consultant that if I come to your business in 30 minutes, I can completely overwhelm you with ideas.
Right.
I know what my value is.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying my value is $10,000 for 30 minutes of my time.
Or more.
But I know what my value is. And I think for so long in my career, I thought, if I could just make $100,000, then I'll be worthy of being a leader. If I could just get old enough to have some gray hair, I would be worthy. If I could get my product in these stores, if I could go on TV, if I could do, and I think that is, I think that that's a real stumbling block that women face of, we don't have enough female mentors because women never think they've done enough, they've accomplished enough to be able to turn around and share that with somebody. And the moment that I realized that I had that worth years ago, I decided that day to quit squandering that and to start mentoring and to start giving back and to start, and not giving back. I'd always been a volunteer, but there's something about when you give back with the intention of mentorship that's different. And that has really changed the way I do everything. Because it's motivating for me. Absolutely, and it's intentional. And so I think that sort of deciding that my value was not based on another award, another accolade, that it was like, I'm here and I've done some cool stuff. I've not done the coolest stuff, but I've done some cool stuff. People have responded to that, and it's completely changed my career. I mean, I feel like the work that I do at Click Synergy with our consulting group is the work that I've worked toward my whole life. It's like what I've always wanted to do. And a lot of that changed when I decided that my worth was not defined by some pre-defined set of measurements. And I'll tell you, and this is not
we make our own rules as we go for the most part.
We can. And, you know, I study a lot about the differences between like how men act in business and how women act. And like I read a stat the other day that men will apply for a job that they're not qualified for if they meet 45 to 50% of the qualifications. And women won't unless they've met almost 80% of the qualifications. That's a problem. That's a problem. And it's how we define success.
I can see that.
And, you know, a lot of it's how culture has defined success and how they defined our gender roles. And I won't go into all that boring stuff because y'all probably yell at me for being a crazy liberal. But I do think that there has to come a time where no matter your gender, no matter your situation, that you decide. You know, I think about how many years did I spend thinking, well, I'm too young to share a story. I'm too young, even though I do feel like I've been given a gift, the gift of gab, you know, however you want to call that. How many years did I spend sort of hiding that talent because I wasn't old enough or good enough or smart enough or rich enough? All these things that for some reason I thought had to be in place. And how many young girls did I miss? How many men did I miss? You know, I've been very lucky that I've had amazing mentors on both sides of the gender fence. I mean, probably more male mentors than not. And how many men have I missed being able to mentor because I thought, oh, I'm a woman, I can't mentor a man. I mean, I think that we have to quit thinking about these predefined boxes. And I think we could change a lot if we could get through that. I know that's not necessarily like this is what I do by 8 a.m., but I feel like when that mindset changed, so much about how I carried myself and what I was willing to do and what not willing to do, like how comfortable I felt in my own skin, how happy I was, all of that changed when I quit trying to define my worth by this little box.
Well, I mean,
I'm a big girl. I need a big box.
Your personality, your mindset, your thought process is massive. So that's key, though. I mean, you know, no morning ritual, no daily grind matters until you actually have the right mindset. So I think you've got that. We promised everybody 23 minutes. We've gone a little bit over. It's not too bad. I think it's been super, super worth it.
You're awesome to say that.
I appreciate your time so much. If somebody out here wants to get in contact with you about any of the different services and inventions that you're working on or have, how would they reach you?
So you can go to our website, myclicksynergy.com. You can go to alchemyspray.com. I am on Facebook. Everything I do is set to public. So I sort of believe that I should never say or do
Transparency.
anything that I wouldn't let the Times Daily quote me in. Also, I'm apparently
Remember that, Nick.
Also, I'm apparently willing to let the Times Daily quote me in a lot of stuff because I've told 2 stories this year about peeing my pants. So
Hey, we've all been there at some
that's
point
right.
in time.
That's right.
Whether
So,
we were in diapers or, how old are you? 21.
so it's pretty easy to find me. You can always, my number's out there. You can direct message me. I'm very responsive, but don't be creepy. I had several people message me and say, would you come to my house so I could record your laugh as my ringtone? I'm like, and then take my face off? No, you will not. I will not come to your house.
You might want to make that a ringtone on Apple to let it be downloadable for $2 a pop.
How creepy would that be if you were sitting in a restaurant and you heard a laugh and you were like, my God, it's me. I couldn't do it. I'm not ready.
I don't know if you can monetize it, leverage that laugh,
No, I
girl.
think this person wanted to.
So you could roll out a different one every month.
I think this person wanted to wear my skin.
Be a subscription.
No, I think this person wanted to wear my skin.
Okay, guys, that's it. It's Monday Morning Mojo, 23 minutes of value. Lovely Ashley Morrow and all of her massive mindset and overcoming all these obstacles that she has. Reach out to her. She's giving you many ways to contact her, even including Facebook. You can reach myself, Shane Kilby, here on Facebook anytime. Message me, direct message me, friend request me here at Capstone Realty. Would love to help you out any way, form, or fashion. Until next time, that's it. We're over and out. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Like and share it. Like and share it. Put that thumb on there. Thanks so much. See you.